I'm Becky Davis with City TV, and welcome to Inside Santa Barbara, the city's only news magazine show. We bring you up to date on the city's most significant issues, projects, and events. Renovation for the 90-year-old Cabrillo Pavilion is underway. The project will preserve this iconic building's historical integrity while creating a modern community recreation and social center that's safe, accessible, and usable for all to enjoy for decades to come. The Cabrillo Pavilion has been a cherished community asset for over 90 years. Over the decades, it's been home to dances, weddings, youth and arts programs, cultural events, and summer recreation. Renovation of this iconic landmark is now underway. The project will preserve the building's historical integrity while creating a modern community recreation and social center that is safe, accessible, and usable for all to enjoy for decades to come.
A whole group got together and they said, we need to buy up all this land that's privately owned so that we can then turn it over to the city after a bond election. So the bond election passed because they promised them this pavilion. At that point, a picture of it had been drawn for the Santa Barbara Morning Press at the time, helping to pass the bond election, but nobody knew who was going to donate this, and it turned out it was David Gray.
David Gray gave this facility to the city of Santa Barbara for recreational and park purposes. And mainly in the early years, it was a bathing and it was a bathhouse and a place for passive recreation.
Part of it with David Gray was an attitude that his father had. And his father's attitude was, it is not what the world has done for you, but what you have done for the world that matters. And so David Gray had that as a philanthropic vein, running through him.
Because he wanted it to be a civic building for civic events and enjoyment. And that is, it's in the plan, to continue to make it a rentable a place, a facility for events and club things. The prices have to be kept at a moderate, not-for-profit or similar type of fee in order to be used by organizations, especially smaller organizations.
The vision of the original gift also was public access at the beach and how to enhance that. And so that just continues that legacy of philanthropy, making it available to everyone in the community, not just people who had money to own beachfront property.
David Gray did it for the public, and they asked for matching funds. They couldn't quite match all the funds, so he matched the rest of it and furnished it as well. So it's been there forever. It's been a public building and will continue to be a public building.
The Cabrillo Pavilion is Santa Barbara's hub for beach life, providing recreation services to all Santa Barbara residents with free or affordable programs. It is the birthplace of beach volleyball, home to the Santa Barbara Triathlon and the iconic Junior Lifeguards program.
Well, this is a rich part of Santa Barbara's rich history. It's the Grand Dame of the beach. It's on our front doorstep. It's visible to people whether they're on the road or on the ocean. It's a beautiful piece of architecture, so reminiscent of what our city is known for.
Santa Barbara is very special in that you don't have anything built along this beach area except for the arts pavilion. And this is it. So you got a front row seat to look at the whole Santa Barbara coast from right here, from the pier to Montecito.
In other communities, these sorts of facilities would probably be so expensive to rent that the average person could not rent. And I do think we really serve that average person in our community who wants a nice venue by the beach, but that's affordable.
Before I got here, it used to be a restaurant up here. And this is one of the plates that they used. And Liz Parker was the director up at the time. And so she was going through the attic, cleaning everything out with a big dumpster. And there was a box of them sitting there, and that was going in the dumpster. And I says, well, heck, I'm So I put them in my garage, and they've been there for 30 years.
We came to, it was some kind of party upstairs, and it was before they put the carpeting down, and I loved to dance, and so the whole floor was a dance floor. It was a beautiful wooden floor, and man, you could dance. It was really great.
Other memories of coming here to the pavilion, this is where I learned how to play beach volleyball, was right here at East Beach. I learned from players like John Lee and all the other greats. Played a lot of volleyball tournaments here. I've just spent my whole life down here, and this is a beautiful structure, and I'm extremely excited to have them restore it and improve upon something that's been great for the Santa Barbara area for decades and decades.
When I was a child, we would be here all summer on the beach, enjoying it. When I was a high school student, this place was, the main floor was reminiscent of great dances and of the old times. In fact, one of my best buddies met his wife here, and they're still happily married 40-odd years later. And then for several decades, I played volleyball at East Beach and kept a locker in the locker room, and enjoyed it very much, playing with a group called the Nooners, another past piece of Santa Barbara's past history in a very volleyball-centric community.
The renovated Cabrillo Pavilion will include restored historic architectural features, seismic retrofitting, modern locker rooms, multi-purpose fitness areas and meeting rooms, an elevator and ADA-compliant accessibility, family changing rooms, casual beachfront restaurant with indoor and outdoor seating, beach boardwalk, sand areas for beach sports and equipment rentals, expanded activities, classes, and camps, longer operating hours, and weekend staffing. It will continue to benefit the community as an improved venue for large outdoor sporting events and beach festivals, and a safe, convenient meeting place for groups with capacity for indoor receptions, trainings, conferences, and large special events.
I see it as one of the gems of the athletic facilities that the city has. The Carrillo Recreation Center, Los Baños swimming pool, the golf course, the tennis courts. You know, it's just one of those things that are public facilities. Public owns it, and we want the public to feel welcome to come back to it, to have ownership of it, to introduce it to their children, their grandchildren, and have it here for a long, long time.
And this became an invaluable facility for us because it's a multi-purpose building, and we could do so many different things as its headquarters. And over the years, it's been the aquatic supervisor operated out of there, our beach lifeguards operated there, and then in the 60s we started the junior lifeguard program, which involved hundreds of local youth, and that program still exists today. I get very excited at the potential of this building and what it means to the community and what it enabled the Parks and Recreation Department to be able to do.
It's a really wonderful blend of historic preservation and public access and recreation to a beautiful waterfront. So the idea that you've got a 90-year-old building here that was gifted to the city when it first came, and now you want to have a chance to take care of it, but preserve it, preserve the history part of it, and not just gut it and turn it into something completely different. I think they're doing a great job of maintaining the historical integrity of the building, of making sure that as it gets redone, it's also going to provide expanded general public family access to a beautiful waterfront.
Having this 90-year-old building be on this side of Cabrillo Boulevard, right basically next to the sand, you just can't get that anymore. There's no way you could build this anymore. So it's iconic, it's unique, it's just a one-of-a-kind place that can't be replicated. And so I'm so excited we're going to be able to revitalize and renew this place to its glory from the 30s and 40s.
The vision of David Gray still holds true today by providing a place for the community to meet, celebrate, and recreate. Help carry on the legacy of Santa Barbara's most beloved community building while meeting the needs of future generations. Your support of the fundraising campaign is vital to the project. To find out about ways to give, naming opportunities, or to learn more about the project, visit cabrilopavilion.org. From places to have birthday parties, to exercise, or to just simply escape the daily grind, parks play an important role in our community. But one city park in particular was built by the community and designed from the imagination of kids. Up next, writer Chris transports us to Kids World.
If you find yourself in Alameda Park on a sunny afternoon, you will most likely hear the sounds of excited kids playing at Santa Barbara's most popular playground. Ask any kid, and they'll tell you Kids World is the best park to play in.
It's the best place to play infection tag. It is the only playground in Santa Barbara with a lot of secret passageways and slides.
But there's a reason Kids World is so popular. Kids helped design and build it. In 1993, the community came together to construct this iconic playground.
1,000, think about it. 1,000 people show up to this site. And you got everything from 80-year-olds to 5-year-olds, and they all want to work, and they all want to help.
Thousands of tools were distributed to over 4,000 volunteers in the course of 4 days to build this park.
And everybody's wearing tools and digging and scratching. There's this one moment where everybody's hammering and raking at once and there's dust everywhere. And you look at that and go, that's amazing.
This project is a perfect example of how Santa Barbarans are always ready to help out to better the community.
I remember seeing my mother running a skill saw, 80 years old. She'd never run a skill saw in her life.
It was a community explosion of generosity is what it was.
For over 2 decades, kids have enjoyed all that Kids World has to offer. But in 2017, a major renovation project closed the park to improve access and upgrade structural integrity.
So Kids World is well over 20 years old. Playground safety standards have changed tremendously. We're much more sensitive and aware of and respond to the needs of children, particularly that need alternative access to playgrounds. We want to make sure our play spaces are open to as many children as possible.
Before the renovation began, the city asked the community what they would like to see changed at Kids World. Their response: don't change a thing.
The playground is so well loved by the community and so many hands touched it as it was being built that we felt that if we modified it anyway, that we'd get outcry, and so the goal was to make it look like we didn't even come in here.
This major renovation included installing code-compliant hardware, replacing worn wooden posts, and installing fencing to keep the playground safe and accessible.
People will notice that there's more room, and because of some of the little finagling we've done and a little relocation or turning a slide or shortening the swing set, we've created that extra access around.
It was rebuilt just as it was built. That ownership will continue.
This community-built playground was designed from the recommendations and imagination of kids in the 1990s.
And they brought a bunch of kids in and they said, what do you want to see in a park? And so we all get to contribute ideas and make drawings and do all kinds of art to represent that.
Those kids are now adults and are able to share their favorite park with their kids.
Now what I'm most proud of is that I can share it with my daughter. She's 5 years old now.
After 4 months of renovation, Kids World is now reopened to the public.
It's absolutely a timeless place for Santa Barbara. There are people here who played here as children, and we know that the children who are here today are going to grow up and their children will play here.
Even though a community-built playground like Kids World cannot be built today, it shows Santa Barbarans' willingness to roll up their sleeves and make something important happen.
You know, I brought my grandson here, and people bring their grandchildren, and my son helped build it. My mother, 80 years old, helped build it.
Kids World is a unique playground that has been preserved so that future generations can also enjoy its inspiring creativity.
And so it's exactly the same. I walk through it, it doesn't look any different to me. The gates are a little better, and I know it's a lot stronger. It still creates that celebration in the children as well as in the parents. I don't know another park where everybody's so happy at once. This is where you come if you just want to sit down and experience the joy of children having fun.
Kids World is located in Alameda Park and open from sunrise to sunset. We'll be right back with more Inside Santa Barbara.
Hug the coast on your way to work. Early morning train service starts April 2nd from Ventura County to Santa Barbara and Goleta. Arrive at work refreshed and ready for the day. Enjoy a hot coffee. Stay relaxed. Free Wi-Fi sound good? It's time to experience a better way to travel. Go to PacificSurfliner.com or contact a traffic solutions specialist to book your tickets and find out more.
Introducing real-time bus tracking from Santa Barbara MTD. To improve your day, receive instant bus arrival information via text message. When you're at home, use your laptop to see exactly when your bus will arrive and spend more time doing what you love. Our mobile app will help you stay on schedule and focused on what matters most. Because when you're on the go, MTD will get you there. Real-time bus tracking, new technology that will change the way you ride with us. Available wherever you are.
Welcome back. If you've walked this stretch of La Cumbre Road recently, you've probably noticed some changes. But as Chris Bell is about to show us, some of those changes aren't that noticeable, but they actually help improve creek and ocean water quality.
They're popping up all over town, surrounding new buildings, lining parking lots, and acting as driveways. They're all part of a category of products and techniques known as Stormwater Best Management Practices, or BMPs. And while some have techie names like infiltration basin and bioretention cell, they're actually a low-tech but innovative way to address runoff water quality problems.
So you can think of a stormwater BMP as something that treats runoff from stormwater. So by treatment, I just mean removing pollutants.
And the goal is to capture, either retain or simply treat the water and let it run on.
Stormwater BMPs address pollution problems by slowing runoff down and allowing it to soak into the ground where it can be treated. But that treatment isn't done mechanically or chemically. It's done naturally by microbes in the soil. Stormwater BMPs come in many different types, shapes, and sizes. To see some great examples, you can simply take a walk on La Cumbre Road. As part of a sidewalk infill project completed last year, the Public Works Department utilized 3 different types of stormwater best management practices. But you're going to have to look carefully. Some of the BMPs are disguised, and others are barely noticeable.
So one of those is, in the parkway, we put a curb cut from the road to the parkway, and it goes to a basin that's roughly 2 feet deep with a specific engineered soil mix that provides the right infiltration rate and treats the water as it runs into the soil and infiltrates into the native soil beneath.
And this normal-looking catch basin is anything but. Underneath lies an effective runoff treating infiltration basin.
We actually installed this catch basin directly in front of an existing catch basin. And the reason for that is water would traditionally run down the street, goes into the existing catch basin that goes to the storm system, and it runs from there to the rest of the storm system. We needed to capture the water before it got there. So we installed a new basin here that's going to catch all the roadway and driveway runoff, and some of the sidewalk runoff goes into the basin here, and this one has an open bottom to it, and some water will infiltrate through there. Then as it ponds up to a height of 1.5 feet, there's an outlet pipe that goes into stormwater storage tanks that are underneath the sidewalk here. And it will, over time, infiltrate that into the surrounding soil.
The third stormwater BMP used in the sidewalk infill project is more obvious. It incorporates a new twist on an old construction material.
So here at this intersection, we're at Via Lucero and La Cumbra, we installed pervious concrete ramps, and the infiltration rate for pervious concrete is incredibly high. Pretty much everything that hits it is going to go straight through. And we're also capturing some of the runoff from the sidewalk here and here, as well as this off-site, which was unintentional, but it's going to treat all that area as well.
In response to more stringent statewide stormwater runoff regulations, most new development, whether public or private, now needs to incorporate some sort of BMP.
We're required to install these whenever somebody wants to build something over a certain size, and there's design review required. That's the regulatory issue. The other issue is we have an impervious area problem in the city, and the idea behind stormwater treatment is to alleviate some of that impervious area issue. When you have too much impervious area, stormwater flows off too quickly and enters the creeks and ocean untreated, which creates a water pollution problem.
And while larger, more complex stormwater BMPs can be expensive, there are really simple BMPs anyone can do for practically nothing.
We see a lot of residential projects disconnecting their downspouts, where instead of piping the water from the roof to the street, the downspouts from the roof are disconnected into a planter or the landscaping. And that can have a big impact over time on water quality. Just that simple measure.
The Creeks Division is continually researching new stormwater best management practices. The latest, known as a dry well, is about to be tested in a pilot project.
You can think of them as large cylindrical concrete tubes that are installed underground, and they take up very little room. We're thinking about installing them at an intersection at a couple places in the city, and it could really be a good method for public works to use to treat stormwater in the future because they're cost effective and can treat such a large area.
So the next time you come across a large public works project, look carefully. You're likely to find stormwater best management practices, and maybe some inspiration too.
If you have a private development, if you're struggling with how to meet the requirements for the water permit, this would be a great place to come and look and see what you want to do at your own house.
So we had a head start, but we still have a long way to go. We've got over 20,000 parcels in the city, and right now our highest level of stormwater treatment, which we call Tier 3, where at a minimum you're having to treat all the stormwater from a 1-inch 24-hour storm for all the impervious area on site. We only have between 200 to 300 of those installed. So when you've got a city with as many parcels as Santa Barbara, we have a long way to go.
To learn more about stormwater best management practices and how you can help improve creek and ocean water quality, visit sbcreeks.com. It's one of the most scenic drives in the country, and it's just had a makeover. Up next, City TV's Chris Bell shows us one of the ways the Public Works Department repairs a road to keep things going smoothly.
When it comes to views, Shoreline Drive has few equals. Bisecting the mesa and the ocean, Shoreline is a place to slow down and enjoy the ride. Now, thanks to a recent grind and overlay road project, that ride is even more enjoyable.
What that is, it's like a completely repaving, grinding away the old pavement surface and laying new surface on top of it. So basically, the result is like a new road.
So we are in the city's Zone 3 pavement maintenance project. The project started in May of 2017, and the contractor's back to perform a 3-inch grind and 3-inch hot mix overlay on Shoreline and Meigs from Loma Alta up to Cliff Drive.
That zone system is the city's way of maximizing bang for the buck from limited road maintenance funds.
So we have the city broken up into 6 different pavement zones, and we cycle through those different zones, and then of course we prioritize the roads that need the most work, and also we prioritize on the roads that have the most traffic. So we try to maintain the roads that get the most traffic in the highest condition, and that really is the best way to spend the maintenance dollars that we have.
The zone prioritization system is critical to keeping roads from degrading to a point where a repair becomes a replacement, which is exponentially more expensive.
What happens is if they're not maintained on a regular basis, they start to alligator and break up, and those repairs become more expensive. So if we can maintain them via slurry seal or some other surface treatment, we can extend the service life of a road for up to 20 years.
Other streets in Zone 3 that have undergone the grind and overlay process recently include parts of Las Positas, San Andres, Mission, Bath, Modoc, and Gillespie. Funds for road maintenance come from a variety of sources such as utility users tax, Measure A, and taxes on gasoline. However, revenues from the gas tax have declined steadily over decades, making the challenge of keeping the roads in good condition even greater.
Partly because vehicles now are more efficient, which is a good thing.
But the funding for road repair is getting better, thanks to a 1-cent sales tax increase approved by city voters in November. One of the top beneficiaries of the projected $22 million a year derived from the increase will be roads.
But the bottom line is that, the revenue that we have is limited, and so we want to try to make that go as far as we can.
After a grind and overlay process is completed, roads are not only smoother, they're safer too.
Public safety is always, our primary concern. So we want roads that are drivable. Anyone who cycles knows that, when after you've paved a road, it's beautiful, it's nice and smooth. We want to make sure that pedestrians have a very safe place to walk. We want to make sure that our crosswalks are properly delineated. This particular project, we're going to be using thermoplastic markings instead of just paint for all of the road striping and for the crosswalks. And yeah, it just gives us an opportunity to not only improve the look of the road, but also provide better safety, especially for pedestrians and bicycles, but the cars as well.
In case you're wondering, the asphalt that came off the old road was recycled and incorporated into the new one. This intersection of Soledad and Cacique Streets and Sycamore Creek has always had a lot going on. But when Caltrans created the Cacique 101 underpass, the intersection became a lot more important. Up next, City TV's Chris Bell shows us why this intersection is unique and what the city's done to make it a favorite of pedestrians and bicyclists.
If you've ever tried to cut across the Lower East Side and made the mistake of taking Cacique Street, you know the feeling. So close, yet so far. You see, Cacique abruptly dead ends at Sycamore Creek, a tantalizingly short distance from the other side. Cacique had a footbridge for a while, but in case you're wondering, yes, there used to be a vehicle bridge.
Previously, there was a vehicle bridge. It was actually removed in 1977, right before the rainy season, after the Sycamore Canyon fire as a flood preventative measure by county flood control. And after that, the bridge was never replaced, and instead they put a 4-foot pedestrian wood bridge.
The old bridge was fine if you were crossing by yourself, but it didn't meet today's standards.
It was definitely undersized and dilapidated, so needed much more than improvement to be replaced.
The city had replacement of the Cacique footbridge on its radar for a while, but after hearing from the public during the East Side Neighborhood Transportation Management Plan process, something else was learned.
The community expressed the need for a connection to Soledad Street in order to get to Franklin and El Adelante schools. So previously, students would either go through the creek or have to go around at least a few blocks to get to school, or they would also cross private properties.
The resulting Cacique and Soledad pedestrian bicycle bridges and corridor improvements project includes not one but 2 bridges, with plenty of room for pedestrians and bicyclists alike. The 75-foot-long bridges are quite a bit broader than the creek in order to accommodate any future creek widening. The project also includes improved lighting and landscaping, as well as a number of creek-friendly elements.
So we work closely with the Creeks Department to identify native plants that will be installed all along the creek banks and parkways, as well as implemented their stormwater management plan, BMPs, through infiltration basins and dry wells that will capture the stormwater runoff.
And to top it all off, the project was almost completely funded with grants, something the city of Santa Barbara is better at acquiring than any other municipality in the state.
So the total project cost is about $2.7 million, fully funded by the Active Transportation Program, with minimal city funds provided in order to account for future landscape maintenance.
The new bridges are a vital part of a highly used pedestrian and bicycle corridor, giving East Side residents convenient connection to schools, Milpas, the beach, and beyond.
To learn more about this or any other large public works project in the city, visit santabarbaraca.gov/major projects map. We'll be right back with more Inside Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara, the city you love. But to keep Santa Barbara the city of your dreams, you need to participate. And to participate, you need information. Get it from the source. City TV is the window to Santa Barbara city government. Television, internet, live or on your schedule. City TV. Stay informed, participate, and dream big. In a disaster, it's not just your needs you have to consider. All members of your family have to be ready. Don't forget the pets.
Welcome back. There are many reasons why people come to Santa Barbara. Some for the beautiful beaches, others for the perfect climate. One sister city came to learn more from the city of Santa Barbara's best practices in municipal government and ways they can improve their own city. Writer Chris has more.
The city of San Juan, also known as St. John of the Mountain, is located in the heart of Metro Manila, Philippines. Like Santa Barbara, San Juan is rich in Spanish culture and is an ideal tourist destination.
We're 5.5 square kilometers in size, but we have the best shopping destination. We are the best shopping destination in the whole of the metro.
Good evening, my fellow.
In 1956, then-President Dwight D. Eisenhower established the Sister City program to promote the understanding of people regardless of race or nationality.
Because as he said, governments oftentimes, they don't get along. And they are the cause of war. But if we're citizen diplomats and we're friends with people, we're less likely to support the war. Everyone needs to get to know each other.
Welcome. Welcome to City Hall.
Santa Barbara has participated in the Sister City program since 1966. Today, Santa Barbara has 6 other sister cities.
City of Santa Barbara has been involved with sister cities for decades, and I think, we pay so much attention to what happens locally on a day-to-day basis, but it's good to remind ourselves about we are part of a global community and to connect our community to sister cities around the world to see how really we're more alike than different.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
On October 10, 2000, San Juan re-established the relationship with Santa Barbara as a sister city. In addition to student exchanges and city council visits, the Sister City program allows the two cities to get an in-depth look into each other's day-to-day functions.
They started for a lot of different reasons, but they've developed a very close friendship through the years. So they've expanded their programs, and their programs, I'm sure, have changed from just being a social visit to one of a productive nature.
Greetings to our sister city, Santa Barbara.
San Juan is the most modern and progressive city in metropolitan Manila. San Juan's mayor, Gia Gomez, has focused her term on improving the physical, spiritual, and educational well-being of the residents of San Juan. Santa Barbara serves as a good example for this developing city.
We were not trying to compete, but we want to be at par with them so that we can improve our services, our culture history promotion, and especially we want to see that San Juan will be similar to Santa Barbara with this kind of environment.
During their visit to Santa Barbara, the San Juan City delegation sat in on city council meetings, attended social gatherings, and even got presentations from city staff on various city operations, including finance, tourism, and emergency services.
You know, they noticed that there was actually quite a lot of similarities, which surprised them, as they said, because they thought Santa Barbara was, you know, much more affluent and had everything they needed, but realized that we too have our challenges. And so to see and hear about those connections, I thought was a nice way to learn about each other.
Rest assured that everything that we will learn here will be put into very good use.
Santa Barbara is helping San Juan with their experience in creek restoration, recycling, wastewater management, and affordable housing.
Actually, we've trying to look for best practices, and we want to educate ourselves with our sister city, what is familiar, what is common, and even the problems that we encounter like floods, crimes. We all have the same problems, but we get some part of a solution from our learnings from our sister city, Santa Barbara.
Okay, public comment.
Santa Barbara residents play an active role in civic engagement. The Sister City program offers the ability for cities to exchange ideas on how to improve their own local government practices.
I was impressed to hear from them about the way we run our meetings and the role of public comment, which is not something they see as much in their public meetings, and even talked about how can we engage their community more on civic issues. Who knows what will come out of this meeting on their end.
To learn more about the Santa Barbara Sister Cities program, visit santabarbaraca.gov/sistercities. Water is a valuable resource, and as Santa Barbara enters its 7th year of drought, water conservation is more important now than ever. Up next, we'll learn about one Santa Barbara business and why it's being recognized as a shining example of water efficiency in our community. Since 2011, Santa Barbara's water conservation program has been giving out the Water Hero Award. The award highlights individuals, businesses, and organizations that go above and beyond in their water conservation efforts, and this year's recipient is no exception.
This year, the city is recognizing Mission Linen for their efforts in incorporating water conservation in their operations. Some of their efforts include recycling water on site and making adjustments to their washing formulas, which have significantly reduced their water usage.
Mission Linen Supply began in Santa Barbara in 1930 and has been providing laundry services to hospitality, healthcare, and industrial businesses throughout the region ever since.
We are what we consider the original environmentalists, where sustainability is built into our business. We rent products and reuse them as a part of our service to our customers. And utilities, and water in particular, is a precious resource and always has been for us. So we have focused on the conservation of that resource for many years. And then certainly here in Santa Barbara, over the past many years, we've had a greater need to find out ways in which we can reduce our water usage due to the drought conditions that we've had.
Mission Linen has a long history of being sustainable partners with the city of Santa Barbara. We saw it coming a long time in advance. We've always tried to be one step ahead of the situation, and when the drought started coming through, we noticed that we needed to make a change ourselves.
Mission Linen Supply has 2 main operating plants in Santa Barbara, the industrial plant and the linen plant. While the linen plant focuses on providing laundry services to hospitality and restaurant customers, the industrial plant primarily handles uniform and garment services. Together, both plants process thousands of pounds of laundry each week, making water usage a huge part of their daily operations.
During our slow season, we process about 78,000 pounds of soiled linen a week, and that's through our restaurants and our hotels. During our busy season, our summer, we run through about 106,000 pounds a week, so it vacillates greatly from season to season.
And those numbers are for the linen plant only. Another 63,000 pounds of laundry gets washed each week in the industrial plant. You can imagine how much water it takes to process that much laundry. Fortunately, Mission Linen Supply developed a way to both recycle and reuse their rinse water, resulting in dramatic water savings.
This facility has been recycling water since 1973. What we've done is we've improved the process. We've changed out the the softening capacity, therefore reducing some of the salt in softening water that is used for the process, right? So we saved on the water and the salt.
By capturing water on site and safely treating it for reuse, Mission Linen is able to reduce their water consumption to about 50% of what a home washer would use.
We reclaim now 34% of the water that's currently taken in by the city, and we use that to go ahead and wash additional loads of laundry.
In addition to recycling water, Mission Linen also removes harmful waste products from the rinse water before it gets sent back out to the wastewater system.
One of the things we do here at Mission Linen is we launder the garments and the towels and ancillary items in our customers' place of business. Had folks taken those things home, they would have used probably twice as much water as we use. Additionally, what we do is we actually clean the water before we send it back to the city of Santa Barbara. We're actually very proud of being #1 creator of wastewater in the city of Santa Barbara, but we clean it before we send it back to the city of Santa Barbara. And this port is where the actual water returns down the hatch to the sewer to go back to the city of Santa Barbara. In the back of the plant, we have a wastewater system to treat that. Mission Linen was one of the first to even introduce a wastewater system, and I think it was back in 1973. We've reduced 40 tons of greenhouse gases by doing this.
Another positive change that was made over the past year was replacing a 120-year-old boiler in their industrial plant.
We have a boiler that basically was brought in from the old Arlington Hotel after the earthquake, or when it burned down. The founder bought it. They moved it to this facility. We basically decommissioned it about a year and a half ago. The age basically did not make any sense to continue to operate. It was beginning to be suspect as far as the safety aspect of it. So we were able to install a newer boiler that could produce lower emissions. So it's very clean boiler.
Between their heat reclamation and water reusage programs, it's estimated that Mission Linen Supply saves about 141 million gallons of water per year, making them a worthy recipient of this year's Water Hero Award. Congratulations to Mission Linen Supply for being Santa Barbara's 2017 Water Hero. To learn more about how you can conserve water, visit santabarbaraca.gov/waterwise. Next year's Water Hero could be you. Well, that does it for this episode of Inside Santa Barbara. If you have any questions or comments about the show, you can give us a call at 564-5311. If you missed something, not to worry, you can watch the show online at santabarbaraca.gov/citytv. I'm your host, Becky Davis. Remember to get involved inside Santa Barbara.